Real Madrid celebrated Zinedine Zidane's one-year anniversary as manager in style with a 3-0 thumping of Sevilla in the first leg of the Copa del Rey Round of 16 on Wednesday night at the Estadio Santiago Bernabeu. A pair of goals from James Rodriguez sandwiched a Raphael Varane header to put Real on the doorstep of the Copa quarterfinals. It was a completely dominating performance from Zidane's men, and more impressive that it came without the services of the vaunted BBC, plus defender Sergio Ramos. Nevertheless, Real got top performances from James, Luka Modric, and Marcelo among others in the lopsided victory against a Sevilla side that came into the contest with hopes of snapping Real's 37-match unbeaten streak, but instead left humbled and defeated. It was a BBC-free starting 11 for Zidane, who instead gave nods to Marco Asensio, Alvaro Morata, and the maligned James up top, while surprisingly Karim Benzema took a seat on the bench next to Isco. In the back, injuries to Ramos and Pepe paved the way for the centre-back pairing of Varane and Nacho, while in goal Kiko Casilla enjoyed a rare start ahead of Keylor Navas. The match offered a fascinating tactical duel at the start, with Sevilla using a high line against Los Blancos while Real looked to pressure any time Sevilla tried playing out of the back. Without Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, and Benzema, Real were far less direct and relied more on possession. But the pressure they put on the Sevilla defense worked to a charm, and it led to James' opener on 10 minutes. Gabriel Mercado's pass for Steven Nzonzi in the middle of the pitch was well anticipated by Casemiro, who dispossessed the former Stoke City man. The ball went right to James, who turned and fired in a low driving shot past Sevilla goalkeeper Sergio Rico to give Los Blancos a 1-0 lead. Real were having a field day on the right side, taking advantage of a subpar Escudero, and Modric nearly made it 2 with a spectacular scissor kick off the Carvajal cross, but the Croatia international's shot went buzzing just wide. Things were difficult for Sevilla. Jorge Sampaoli's playmakers were barely touching the ball, and difference makers like Angel Correa and Samir Nasri were completely cut off. Real continued their champagne football in the first half, and moments before halftime they doubled their lead through a Varane header off a corner kick. Following a stinging volley from Marcelo that required a reaction save from Rico, Toni Kroos looped in a corner kick that Varane met perfectly a la Sergio Ramos, and the header spun past the helpless Rico for a 2-0 lead. Sevilla's suffering was almost compounded minutes later when Morata found himself loose in the area and with the ball at his feet, but Rico stood tall and denied the former Juventus man. Casilla was just as good at the other end, denying Correa one-on-one in what was Sevilla's first good chance of the match. Just before the break, Casilla was called on again, and this time had to go low to prevent Vitolo from scoring. Real would then cap off their dominant first half with their third goal of the night, as James Conley stroked home a penalty after a foul on Modric and the area was whistled, even though it looked like it was the Colombian who had committed the push. Facing a 3-0 deficit, Sevilla's only option was to try to carve out a goal to give themselves any chance of a comeback in next week's second leg in Andalusia. But Zidane's men weren't about to let that happen. Real continued to pound the Sevilla defense, with Marcelo in particular bombing forward and creating all sorts of headaches. Los Blancos did not have the same attacking impetus in the second half, but they maintained control, never allowing Sevilla a sniff back into the game. By the final quarter hour, the intensity of the match had leveled off significantly, as Real saw out the final minutes with aplomb.